kind of important. Anyways, welcome to race number 12 of 29 here in the 1990 throwbacks, and Alan Kowicki has been well on fire as of recent. He is having the career year thus far, 3 wins, the only driver to have multiple wins this season. And, Alan Kowicki is just really living it up right now. And it doesn't look like his momentum is going to stop anytime soon. But Jeff Bodine, he's been hanging in there just as well. Elliott, we'll see how he does through this summer Super Speedway Madness. We've also got Martin and Waltrip up there. They always do well on the big speedways. But it'll be interesting to see how people like Labonte, Rudd, Irvin, and Parsons end up holding up as the season continues. Anyways, that's enough for the introduction. Let's continue with the second third of our season here at the Sears Point Raceway. And we're going to see how the qualifying times go. And on the pole, very unsurprisingly, is going to be the 25 of Tim Richmond. I think that's only either his first or second pole to this point in the season. So maybe it's a little surprising there, but Richmond is one of the best on the road courses. Almost undoubtedly one of the best on the road course circuit. So we'll get to the race here. So our top 10 qualifying order, can't really get a different angle. Tim Richmond is going to be your pole sitter, Ricky Rudd in second, Rusty Wallace third, Morgan Shepherd fourth, Mark Martin fifth, and Alan Kowicki sixth, Bill Elliott seventh, Jeff Bodine eighth, Phil Parsons ninth, and Michael Waltrip now in 10th. He got a top 5 last week and had a top 10 starting position as well last week. So Michael Waltrip finding a little bit of fire early on in this season. But as of right now, we've got 3 of the best road course ringers. 1, 2, 3. Here's the command. And 3 of the best road course drivers in NASCAR: Tim Richmond, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, all up front. Richmond, of course, being a multi-time winner at Riverside, as well as a winner at Watkins Glen. Ricky Rudd also has a win at Riverside. He does not have a win at Watkins Glen, however. And of course you have Rusty Wallace, who doesn't necessarily have a win at any of the road courses yet, but has finished second 3 times at the road courses. So Rusty Wallace also knows how to get it done. I think all 3 of those times it was at Watkins Glen. Maybe not second, but he's been towards the front in a lot of road course races. "19 laps is going to decide this affair as they come down to the line. The green flag is out and we are underway here from Sears Point. Ricky Rudd almost getting into the gravel there. On the outside, it looks like Rudd's going to have a little bit of the inside advantage here as they head through turn number 2. You can see the whole field going by there. And Richmond got a little bit of an advantage on Ricky Rudd. Not quite. Rudd's going to beat him here into this right-hand corner. Through turn 4. And whoa! Kowicki got into the back of Morgan Shepherd there, and Davey Allison just got spun into the embankment. So problems already. Davey Allison getting spun into the embankment. The caution flag will fly. It looks like he got back onto the track fine. No, there he is. He did not get back onto the track fine. Ricky Rudd is still battling with Tim Richmond. Now down to the inside of Richmond here, going through the hairpin. They're still side by side. They're still battling up here. And now Richmond's got the advantage. So Tim Richmond finally takes the advantage away from Ricky Rudd. And it looks like we're pretty much going to have the same spirit as last year. Caution on the first lap of the race. Hopefully this is not a trend of things to come, but you never know. They go through the hairpin. Looks like everyone gets through pretty much clean. And the caution flag's going to come out. And no clue what Richmond is doing or where he's going. And I think a lot of drivers are kind of confused because everyone's just stacking up here. So Richmond, he's going to still have the lead. Ricky Rudd is in second, Rusty Wallace third, Morgan Shepherd fourth, Alan Kowicki fifth, Jeff Bodine sixth, Mark Martin seventh, Bill Elliott eighth, Michael Waltrip ninth, he actually moved up a position, and Phil Parsons in 10th. So minor changes. It should also be known the winner last year of this race, Rick Mast, who got probably one of the most shocking upset victories as he won this race as a rookie last year, the inaugural race as a rookie. Here he is. He's currently in 13th. So he could potentially have the same magic that he did last time, and maybe, just maybe, he can pull another win out today. That'd be crazy. First two races here, some relatively unproven driver ends up getting the first two wins here, and that may be the only thing that Rick Mast is ever known for, is that are the two wins at Sears Point, which is almost kind of a shame, but that's how NASCAR works sometimes. Anyways, other than a complete lack of things to say, we'll see here. Some people are opting to pit, some people are not. Let's see who's pitting where. Sometimes it can be a little confusing. Who needs to go where for pit road? The 88's going to pit road. Looks like all these guys are coming. 17's coming down pit road. Now you got some people that are going to be diving off to the pits to the right here. Looks like Jeff Purvis and Lake Speed are going to be among that company. So we're under caution already here at Sears Point, which really shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who watched the previous incarnation of this race. The first ever race here back in 1988. We saw a lot of chaos in the race, but through all the chaos, one thing remained certain, and that was the upset victory by Rick Mast. It was really, truly an incredible sight to behold. it caught everyone off guard, and through all of that, he pretty much gained a lot of lore for himself. And here's Rick Mast. He is a permanent part of NASCAR lore now. In that number 98 machine. No doubt about it, he is a permanent part of NASCAR lore. Of course, Hal Needham, he was the owner of this team last year. Now it's got a new owner in the form of Travis Carter. Travis Carter sending this car out for a full season as the new owner, and I gotta say that this team's actually doing better than they did last year, so Carter's really shown himself that he's a good owner, and they've got a good crew behind them. We'll see if they can continue their momentum. Everyone has caught up. Unfortunately, Davey Allison has gone behind the wall due to a lap 1 accident. So Davey Allison's luck here in the Cup Series continues to be absolutely phenomenal. Basically the opposite of Alan Kulwicki. Kulwicki's had tremendous luck this season. Davey Allison, no. He's not had any luck. The pace car dives off into pit road. Everyone comes through turn 11 here, the final hairpin. And then through the final kink. Richmond bringing them down very slow. The green flag is out, and what a jump by Rusty Wallace. He might actually get the lead from that. What a move. That was an incredible move. That was a great veteran move. Now the start of the race may be under review. I don't think Wallace jumped it. I think Wallace timed it absolutely perfectly, and you are allowed to pass on the outside line before coming down to the line. That was a legal pass. So I think Wallace is going to be credited with the lead here. I don't think that they're going to find any issues with that start. That was just an incredible move by Rusty Wallace to put himself in the lead here at Sears Point. Richmond was trying to do the old make him go slow down to the line and get a huge jump on him. The strategy did not pan out for Richmond at all. Wallace just went around on the outside, punched the throttle, didn't do it too early, didn't do it too late. It was just perfect timing. Got around him in turn 1. It was just great. You can see the entire field flying by here through the very technical S-bends of this track. One of the reasons why this track doesn't really have a ton of passing opportunities is that probably the biggest passing opportunity is the turn that they just went through there. Martin trying to gain an advantage here on Kulwicki. On the outside, he might be able to do it. The outside line has been favored historically in that corner, and indeed it happens yet again. So Mark Martin will snatch a position away from Alan Kulwicki, and right now, Jeff Bodine is looking to retake the points lead. And Bodine's been doing a phenomenal job up here at the front, no doubt about that. You know, we're 12 races into the season. Jeff Bodine has no wins, but he's just put together stellar performance after stellar performance, week in and week out. He hasn't had any truly good finishes, but he also hasn't had any truly atrocious finishes either. I think the worst that he's finished all season is like 14th. So he hasn't had any truly good season races or truly bad races. He's just been a really good, consistent driver throughout the season. And that's what it takes to be a champion. And I think this team, moving over to Junior Johnson here, I think has really put confidence back in the 41-year-old Jeff Bodine. And they are definitely doing well. We've got pit stops already, apparently, as Mark Martin's now going to hit pit road. So Mark Martin on pit road for some reason. Sterling Marlin trying to gain a position here on Michael Waltrip. Looks like he's going to be able to do that with ease. Rick Mass trying to fend off Ricky Rudd for position. I'm not 100% sure that's going to pan out. I think that's going to go in Rudd's favor. Indeed, Mass is going to let Rudd go. And Mass is... No! Rudd swings wide. Here comes Mass down to the inside. Not going to be enough. No, he used the bumper to get Rudd out of the way. Now he's going to have Rudd here in this long sweeping corner where, again, Rudd's got the advantage. And indeed, Rudd will have the position. So nice effort, but unfortunately it will be for naught. Meanwhile, up front, Rusty Wallace, he hasn't really pulled away here from the lead. But also Morgan Shepherd has not really caught him any either. Shepherd's just been doing a good job running in second place. He probably doesn't have the car to run down Rusty Wallace by any means. But Shepherd's just put in a good performance, just chugging laps away. If we take a look at the fastest lap chart, he does have the second fastest car on the field today. Wallace is a little bit faster. If we take a look at that last run, the 15 was even faster on that lap. So every single lap seems to be getting a little bit faster for these guys. Shepherd is trying to run down the 27 here, but I think that Wallace just has a little bit of an upper hand on the 15. I don't know, it's going to be a good one. Meanwhile, Elliott, he's trying to run down Alan Kwiecki. And how about the performance being put in today by Sterling Marlin? Not necessarily known as a good road course driver, but here's Marlin. He's up here in 8th. And I guess you could say the same thing for Michael Waltrip. He's up here in 9th. Again, not really known for being a good road course driver, but nonetheless, the occasional anomaly exists. And Waltrip is going to get punted here. Rudd is all over his back bumper there in the hairpin. Yeah, Rudd literally was all over Michael Waltrip's back bumper. He was all in his business in that corner. I think he tapped him again through that turn. Yeah, Rudd is all up in Michael Waltrip's business right now, trying to find any way around this 30 car. He'll use the bumper again. Man, Rudd continues to inch closer and closer to this 30 car, but Waltrip's holding his own right now. He's holding off the 26. Meanwhile, really no position swapping going on up here towards the front. Rusty Wallace continues to pull away ever so slightly from Morgan Shepherd. So Shepherd for second, we've got Tim Richmond for third, and Jeff Bodine for fourth. Bodine is trying to run down that 25 car, man. He really is trying, but I don't think Bodine's got enough car under him to beat the Hendrick machine. Got to consider all these guys have got to pit at least once too, and the question is, when are they going to make their stop? When is that stop going to occur? Right now, it's really up for debate. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd is still all over the 30 car. And you take a look at this fastest lap chart. The 26 is there, the 30 is not. Rudd trying to use the outside lane in the hairpin to get a position. That is not how you pass at this track. And Rudd is going to suffer the consequences for that a little bit. Rudd is really trying his best to get around this 30 car, and it's just not working. Good news here for Waltrip is that he's going to get a ton of confidence here on the road courses. Again, someone that usually doesn't do well on these kinds of circuits is up here in the top 10, doing really well. And that's the kind of thing that you need to inspire confidence in yourself on these road courses, is just go up there, run well. Maybe they got a good setup. Maybe they just got a really good setup for Michael, and right now Michael's just doing really well, way outperforming his Hall of Fame brother, who's currently in 33rd. So I can definitely say that Michael Waltrip's got the better end of the deal today. Rusty Wallace still continues to lead up here at the front. He's really steadily pulling away, about a tenth every other lap. It's really not a huge difference between Wallace and Shepard. And Shepard's doing a good job in his own right in the second position. They're only knocked off 0.03 of a second, so Rusty Wallace trying to pull away, but Shepard is holding strong in the second position. And if any of these drivers end up making a mistake up here, which obviously you're more prone to make a mistake at road courses, especially at this road course where the track's very thin, not a lot of room to roam, plenty of places to make a mistake basically in every single corner. Especially this corner here, very, very easy to overshoot. It's a blind entry. Very, very easy to overshoot that turn. This is another turn. This is because that's where you hit the highest speed on the entire track, is down that straightaway there. That's where you hit your highest speed. So it's very easy to overshoot that hairpin as well. You could just try to get too aggressive, you brake a little late, and then boom, you're off into the sand trap. And that's not a good place to be at this track. You really don't want to be on either side, inside or outside here. It'll really mess up the handling of your car. Not just temporarily like getting the tires dirty, but it will permanently upset the handling of your car if you get out there. At times, Shepard lost a pretty big deal of time to Rusty Wallace. Wallace really put out a banger of a lap time there. And Morgan Shepard, to say the least, did not. Shepard not doing well at all. This road course race is definitely going along a lot more swiftly than the debut race at this track. And this is going pretty well so far, I would say. This is going pretty well so far. Wallace doing a good job staying out in front. Running a good line. Look at this. Beautiful. Slow in, fast out line through the hairpin there. That's exactly how you want to take one of those. Meanwhile, through the S's, there's just so many different lines that you can take where you'll be just as fast pretty much any other way. It depends on what your braking, what your brake foot feels like, what your throttle foot feels like. You can decide to not use brake through there. You can decide to use heavy brake through there. Morgan Shepard is going to dive down pit road. Will anyone join him? Not anyone inside the top 10. Rudd uses the bumper again to try to get around Michael Waltrip. Man, Rudd is trying everything he can to get around this 30 car. I mean, he's literally throwing the kitchen sink at the 30 car right now, trying to get around him. So probably you're going to see everybody else start to come down pit road this lap. And that should be everyone's one and only pit stop. Richmond coming around the corner here. Here's Jeff Bodine. I've already mentioned how good Bodine is looking right now. If the race standings were to end right now, looks like Bodine's looking really, really good to have the points lead once again. And it's going to be by single digits. But definitely some inconsistencies in the Kawicki regime. Now, if I was Kawicki, I would have tried to stay out there, but who knows what the fuel situation is like. Probably desperate, so I almost kind of don't blame him. Meanwhile, here's Morgan Shepherd. He may be the beneficiary from that pit stop. We'll find out. Usually pitting early is a good thing. Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin both pit early, but you can see the issue with pitting early sometimes. You run into this lap traffic here, and it's a mess. Now you're going to have all that lap traffic making you take the long way around the hairpin. And that's almost going to cancel out any speed you gain while being on the track. And you'll see Shepherd's actually going to lose time here, as he's going to end up coming out, well, he comes out ahead of Kawicki, I guess. But he's not going to come out ahead of Richmond. And it looks like Jeff Bodine had a terrible pit stop, and that team's not going to be very happy because Kawicki had a bang-on pit stop. Here you can see Martin battling Sterling Marlin. That's for position. Looks like Martin will have that. Kawicki has a bang-on pit stop, and he'll end up coming out in fourth. Precisely right where he needs to be for this race to hold on to the points lead. Meanwhile, Bodine, he's going to even be behind Chad Little in the 19. Chad Little. Now there's the driver. He was a rookie last year. In fact, he was a rookie with, I believe it was Junie Dunleavy in the 90 car. And Chad Little didn't really do much last year, but hey, here he is. He's up in the top 10 in the Bullseye Barbecue number 19 Ford. I believe that's a team ran by his dad, so naturally he's going to come onto pit road and realize that this has all been a fluke. Poor Chad. It seemed like he had a good car too. So Jeff Bodine, the big loser that time on pit road. Not good at all, coming out 9th. He was 4th coming in. Yeah, not good at all. Meanwhile, Morgan Shepherd, I don't know if I can really identify any big winners from that pit stop, but definitely a big loser in the form of Jeff Bodine. All they needed to do was put together that pit stop, and they would have gotten away this race with the points lead. And now it looks like they're going to be facing a roughly 25-point deficit heading into Pocono, I believe the next race is. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace up front. Absolutely no surprises here. He's been the man to beat all day long. And Wallace should just cruise to an easy road course victory here today. Meanwhile, I think this might be a really good position battle here between Morgan Shepherd and Tim Richmond. Now, when they came on pit road, it was Shepherd second, Richmond third. This time, now it's Richmond second, Shepherd third. Of course, Shepherd pitted a lap early, trying to get maybe a little bit of an advantage. Unfortunately, lap traffic did not play to his favor in the slightest. So right now, like we said, Rusty Wallace is gone. He's gone. He's won this race. No doubt about it. Here, Elliott continues to work on the back of Alan Kowicki. I don't think Elliott's going to be able to ever pass Alan. We'll see if he can get there. Sterling Marlin has put together a very, very impressive effort today. Up in the 7th position and racing one of the better road course drivers in the league with Mark Martin. And just one of the better drivers in general in Mark Martin. Every once in a while, this team seems to really hit the nail right on the head with their setup, and Marlin flies whenever that happens. And here he is up in the 7th position. He's just one of those drivers I really hope breaks the top 15 in points threshold. I mean, he's been in and around that threshold for ever since he came over to this team. He's just been in that threshold ever since he took over the 44 team. So it's just been a lot of what's going on here. Yeah, Sterling Marlin being in that 44 car, taking over for Terry Labonte, and then, you know, he hasn't won a race ever since taking over the 44. But I gotta say that he hasn't ever looked terrible in the 44 / the 94 either. He's done a good job with this team, and I really think that this team is just one step away from breaking out and potentially becoming a championship contender. Now, this is the last year that this team has Sterling Marlin lined up to be a driver. So whether if Marlin ends up staying with this team or if he ends up going elsewhere, who knows. But right now, Sterling Marlin is the only driver lined up for this team. Meanwhile, Chad Little is going very, very slow on the track. He's having issues. The one runs into him. Right. Meanwhile, the glories of lap traffic. Rusty's going to have to find a way around Rodney. And now this is going to get interesting because Richmond has to find a way around Purvis, but Morgan Shepherd's right there. Can he make the move? He's going to try it. Can't get the nose. Because he's going to dive in here hard. Man, the bumpers are so close to being hooked there. I don't think that they touch the bumpers there. Richmond looking for a way around Purvis, and instead it opens the door for Morgan Shepherd. Here he comes down to the inside. Shepherd can't get the job done, and now maybe he's going to fall victim to Kawicki. Kawicki can't get the job done. Kawicki puts the bumper to Shepherd. No hope. Wallace has gotten around Coombs, and now he's trying to get around Richard Petty. He doesn't really need to do that. He's got a 9-second advantage over this battle for second. So what you're watching here on the screen, this is the battle for second. This is not the battle for the lead. Rusty Wallace has won this race pretty handily today. So you really don't need to pay attention to him. Right now, just looking up front, Tim Richmond, he is in second. Morgan Shepherd third, Alan Kawicki fourth. And then back here, Sterling Marlin has moved into the 6th position. Mark Martin's moved back to 7th. Bodine has stayed in 8th. Ricky Rudd in 9th. And Michael Waltrip has gotten into the top 10, back into the top 10. Mast was in the top 10, but now Waltrip has seemingly got it. See if Richmond makes any further mistakes. Kawicki made a mistake there. Can Elliott capitalize? That'll put a big smile on the... Here comes Kawicki down to the inside. Morgan Shepherd. And since Elliott is there as well, I think that's also going to be a position for Elliott. We'll find out. Elliott's going to have him cleared. So that's a loss of 2 positions there for Shepherd, and now Elliott's going to start working on Kawicki. White flag is out. That is not what Jeffrey Bodine wanted to see. No, Bodine really wanted Kawicki to get past there, but it does not look like that's going to happen. Elliott trying to dive bomb Alan Kawicki. Rodney Coombs stopped on the track. The yellow flag is out. It doesn't matter. You got to race back to the line anyways. Yeah, the yellow flag coming out now. It does not matter. You have to race back to the line. Rusty Wallace is going to do that with effectiveness. He's got a 10-second advantage over everyone, and he's just going to cruise on to victory. Meanwhile, we've got this crazy 4-car battle for the 2nd position. What an exhilarating fight. Sterling Marlin might be joining the battle. There goes Richmond. Nope, Richmond couldn't get it done. Meanwhile, up front, Rusty Wallace, he's going to cross the line to the yellow and checkered flag, and he will win the Banquet Frozen Foods 300. Here comes the battle for second. Looks like it's going to be Richmond, Kawicki, Elliott, Shepherd, Marlin. So Rusty Wallace finally showing his worth here at the road courses. Finally getting that first road course win. So Wallace is able to do it. Richmond coming in second. Kawicki will retain the points lead and in fact make the points lead get a lot larger by finishing third. I think that's going to be a 34-point advantage. Maybe more, I don't know. It's going to be a 24-point advantage. Okay. I was close, off by 10. 24. Still waiting for everyone to cross the line. This is going to be one of the shortest events of the year, probably shortest only to Michigan, as this stream is probably not going to last much longer than 40 minutes. We're just crossing the 40-minute mark now. And, well, the points lead is 24 to Bodine, but it's only 21 to Elliott. So Elliott is going to move to second in points. Martin will retain fourth in points. Bodine slides back a little bit. With that win, Rusty Wallace will leapfrog up to seventh in points. Darrell Waltrip takes a huge nosedive after that dismal finish. And Ernie Irvin, he keeps on climbing up steadily. He's in the top 10 in points. So Irvin continues to do really well with that good finish. Marlin will come into the top 20 in points. Mass will come in the top 20 in points. Schrader will come in the top 20 in points. Who gets kicked out of the top 20? Harry Gant and Davey Allison. So, and this is a little surprising. Bobby Hillin Jr., 26th in points. So he's had a ton of really good starting positions. So that really mystifies me. Anyways, it looks like the next race is going to be the MGD 500 at Pocono. We'll see you then.